we got to talk about the Patriots. They went on to win against Minnesota on Saturday afternoon in a strange 1 p.m. Preseason game. First of all, what were your thoughts? I just got to know, what were your thoughts about the 1 p.m. preseason game? Because to me, I hated it. I thought it was stupid. I mean, yeah, it was something to do. You can have football on all day, especially now since it's August and the season's coming up. But I don't know. Wasn't a fan. Let me know your comments down below. But they were able to pull out the victory, of course, by the skin of their teeth, even though they pretty much dominated most of that game. And, of course, we got to get down to the game day grades. And, of course, frequent commenter, not Doug, throwing up Chisholm better be on that list. And don't worry, he is. I'm not blind. And if I was blind, I'd let you know. But first, all right, so grade A. I got Travion Henderson, Efton Chisholm, Robert Spillane, and Will Campbell. Now, I gave Will Campbell a C last week, so we're going to start from the bottom, work our way up. Gave Will Campbell a C last week, and it was because, yes, he played most of his snaps well. It was just that one bad play that he had, with the Drake Maye fumble against Washington. And Saturday, it was clean. He was good. It was, all right, granted, again, similar to Washington, it was the backups, but he did his job. When watching the film, the all-22 film, he did his job. He was there. He stayed in, and, he didn't really get beat by anybody. And when he could have gotten beat, you can argue, all he did was just push the guy upfield right where his momentum wanted to go. So I really enjoyed watching Will Campbell this week. I thought he was good. Robert Spillane, again, a guy that didn't play long, but he was flying around. Like, he was evident on defense, somebody that I'm really excited for. I wasn't, I don't want to say confident in the signing because, again, he played under Mike Vrabel. He seemed kind of his attitude like a Mike Vrabel type of guy. So I was very intrigued to see what happens. And sure enough, yeah, as the, probably will be the Mike linebacker. I've been thoroughly impressed at his motor, his effort. I've really liked what I've seen from him. Now, Efton Chisholm III, once again, led the team in receptions, led the team in yards, and led the team in touchdowns. It was, once again, just fun to watch him. I mean, I said it after his touchdown, on Saturday, where he made 6 defenders miss. 6. It was just like, he's on the team. Straight up. Undrafted, he is on the team. Even David Andrews, tweeted out that he loved seeing undrafted guys just bust their ass, work their hardest to get to this position, to get to where they want to go. And, when talking about Efton Chisholm, over the last couple of days, the one critique that is fair, I don't want to say it's bad or it's wrong. You could argue it's fair, is that he's doing this against backups. Then again, so isn't Drake Maye. So isn't, Matt Collins. So isn't Will Campbell, as I just mentioned. All these guys are going against backups. And Efton Chisholm is going against second, third stringers, maybe even guys who are going to be working at market basket by the end of the week. It's just that I loved it. I love what I've seen from him. I mean, even, the joint practices, reading the reports on him, reading and seeing some of these highlights that I showed you last week about him just really sinking his hips, making that cut. Like, if this dude is not on the active roster, he's going to get swept up by another team, hands down, by none. It's going to happen. Like, he is not a practice squad player. He's not. And that's really something that I love about this kid. I think, and again, too, look at that picture in the bottom right-hand corner. I mean, that's him splitting the 6 defenders and leaping into the end zone for a touchdown while being dragged by his ankle. And he won't be available tomorrow night. I think a couple things. I think, one, that play did tweak his ankle with that guy holding onto it. And there's, some reports out there about that. But I think another thing is he's good. He doesn't need to play because you're playing guys tomorrow night who aren't going to make the roster or have a minor chance of making the roster. If anything, you're trying to solidify your backups and then see, all right, do we have anyone that can sneak in here? I look at this like the old fourth preseason game. The old fourth preseason game where it was literally like third stringers and you had some big plays, some big moments, but those guys weren't making the team. I mean, a perfect example for those of you who remember, you remember Danny Etling, the quarterback out of LSU that we got, who was not good, but he had that like 75-yard touchdown run, I think, against New York in Gillette. Yeah, he made the big play, and everybody the next day is saying, oh my God, Danny's got to play. Danny's got to be on the team. He made the team. It's like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. So I think Eftham Chisholm is far beyond, that questioning, and he absolutely has made this team. And then lastly, once again, Travion Henderson, back-to-back weeks, both those guys get A's. They absolutely crushed it. I mean, it was really, we really saw more of Travion running the football this time, running in between the tackles, trying to hit the A gap, B gap, and seeing kind of what is he going to do? How is he going to hit the hole? Does he pull a Lawrence Maroney and just wait for the hole to open up while he's bouncing on his 2 feet, in the backfield with Tom Brady? Or is he going to take the ball and go right where he's supposed to, and the hole just opens up for him? And it looked like it was the latter on Saturday. So Travion, once again, hell of a performance. He got right in there and just, and especially too on that touchdown run that he had, he just took, he tiptoed around some guys, made some defenders miss in the hole, and just right through. He's done. He's good. Eftham Chisholm's good. And I'm going to give you my projection. So cut down day is on Tuesday next week, which is, let's see, today's 20th to 26th. All right. So cut down day is Tuesday. I have my projection 1.0 of who I think is going to make the 53-man roster. And then I will also send out another final projection, on Monday next week. So stay tuned for that. Next, we got the letter B grade. All right. Who is going to be? I thought Matt Collins, Alex Austin, and Anthony Jennings. Now, I think with Anthony Jennings, yes, he had 3 tackles, 3 sacks, and, really kind of showed himself. But once again, with Jennings, he played all the way to the end of the game, which if you're playing like in the final few minutes of the third and into the fourth, all the way through the fourth, that's, I don't want to say it's ideal, but you're not as likely to make the team playing that deep into any preseason game at this point. So with Anthony Jennings, I thought it was good. Listen, I'm not going to knock what he did. I think it also helps because he's on the trade block and teams know it. Teams are sitting there like, hey, what's the deal with this guy? Can we, we going to make a deal here? Can we get a 6 for him, a 5th for him? That will be interesting to see in the coming days because, again, part of part of these cuts is also going to be trades, which is going to save the team some money. I mean, I discussed with Kyle Duggar last week that Kyle Duggar, if they cut him, are on the hook for $14.25 million. But if they trade him, they're only on the hook for $4.25. So I think that right there is something to keep an eye on, along with these trades. So listen, I thought Anthony played well, even though it was against, second, third stringers. Hey, can't knock the guy. The other two, Alex Austin, I thought was probably the best DB out of the bunch. He had one interception, 2 tackles, 1 pass breakup. I mean, really taking advantage of the fact that Gonzalez is out. Carlton Davis not playing as much right now, but Carlton Davis trying to get back into the swing of things. I doubt Davis will play tomorrow night. So Alex Austin really being aggressive there. And Milton Williams, which was actually really funny. So if you go back and watch that, Milton Williams really doesn't use his hands a whole hell of a lot. Like, he's just a bull rusher, but he literally gets turned around, and instead of just trying to turn himself back, he just keeps backpedaling towards the quarterback, which is what set up Alex Austin for that interception. It was pretty hilarious if you go back and rewatch that. But I thought Alex Austin did a good job, and Matt Collins, the final guy on the list. Matt Collins, 3 targets, 3 catches for 38 yards. He obviously had the toe tapper on the sideline for the 20-yard gain, which I thought was a heck of a play by him, because he had to go up to get the ball from Drake Maye, and almost every target was above his head. And we're going to talk about Drake Maye in just a minute. But Matt Collins being able to, rise to the level, get the ball, and, be able to keep his feet in bounds, being able to be sure-handed, making those catches. Part of building that relationship with the quarterback is when he throws you the ball, if it's in your vicinity, you have to come down with it. That's what builds the trust. Of course, there are going to be times where the ball is going to sail. It's going to go way far behind, way far and forward, way over his head, on the ground, wherever. And the quarterback can be there and be like, yeah, that's on me. That's on me. But again, if it's in your vicinity, then that should be on you. And he went up, made the plays, high point of the ball, got it, came down with it. So very happy to see Matt Collins really get out there, really start to build that trust with Drake Maye, hoping that will carry on over into the regular season. Now for C, the letter C, as in can't play right now. The kicker, Andres Borregales, and Drake Maye. Yes, Drake Maye is once again staying at C. I'm going to talk about Drake Maye in a second, but Borregales there, he gets a C. I think he is not where Paco Romo is. I understand they drafted him, but at the same time, even though he gets drafted, Paco Romo's been outperforming him. Part of that outperformance is the fact that Romo did hit that 57-yarder in the game last week. And because he hit that, that's what, is helping him make the team, because Borregales, yes, he was perfect on extra points. That's something you have to be, but so wasn't Romo. So far, the only misses in the game was the shank and a half Borregales had from 57 yards out. He did redeem himself by hitting a 51-yarder, so that's good, but it's not that he missed a 57-yarder that, is the reason why I'm knocking him down. It's the fact that once the ball came off his foot, everybody watching that game, whether in the stands or on TV here, knew full well that he just shanked the crap out of that ball. That just immediately had a tail, to it. So Borregales, yeah, in my opinion, as it stands right now, Paco Romo has made this team. And I would be intrigued to see what they do with Andres here because, again, you did draft him. I'm not saying that drafting him holds a special place, but it does mean something. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do there. But Drake Maye. Now, Drake Maye on Saturday, he went 4 for 7 for 46 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. I thought that the halfback wheel route to Travion in his first drive, it was a bang play. But if they threw the flag on that and called that pass interference, yeah, I wouldn't have been opposed to it. And if you're a Vikings fan and you didn't think that was pass interference, I don't know. It was really very close. I thought he just hit Travion right before the ball got there. Regardless, they didn't call it. But Drake Maye, when you go back and watch all his throws, they were so high. Again, Mac Hollins is 6'2", 6'3", and he's got full arm extension to go up and get that ball. That's where the dude needs to settle down. Drake Maye really needs to relax. And they tried. I mean, the first play of the game, when they hit Mac Hollins on the slant, that was an easy completion. But yet, he goes up. He got the arms raised, going to get it. You're almost sitting there going dude, calm down. And then to Pop Douglas, who he got Mac Hollins, who's 6'3", and he got Pop Douglas, who's 5'8", and it almost led to an interception. Not for nothing, the safety should have had that. It went right through his hands. Yes, Douglas should have had that, but it was also over his head. And there was no one around him for at least 7 yards. No one. So Drake Maye really, yes, he reading all the reports of, the joint practices, I guess how he handled joint practices against Minnesota and Brian Flores, as we all know, has creative blitz packages and can really make a quarterback lose his mind. He was good. He did well. But when it comes to the in-game moments that we see, that was not good. And then he went on to talk about that's just who he is, and he's not going to change how amped up that he gets prior to the game. And if you're so amped up, it's dude, you got to relax. We all know the infamous Tom Brady banging helmet to helmet on Drew Bledsoe. And Drew in that moment probably telling him, kid, calm down. Get it out, get it out of your system, but calm the F down. Right? And then Brady was and played relaxed, and obviously we went on to win Super Bowl 36, of course. But that's where Maye needs to learn. He needs to learn to relax and settle down. That's what the whole short passing game is for. That first pass to Matt Collins there, the slant, that was it. That was an easy pass to try to get him to relax, to calm down, to settle down. But if he keeps doing that stuff, I mean, what do we we might be in for a long season. And I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit and how much of this second-year leap are we going to get? Are we going to get the massive second-year leap that we're talking about, or are we really in for the Drake Maye of last year? So stay tuned for that. But to finish off the game day grades, I don't give Fs. First of all, I don't give Fs on preseason games just because there's a lot of kinks to work out. But D is the worst you could get in the preseason. Come regular season, oh yeah, we're gonna have some Fs, guys. So when it comes to grading guys D, I got Garrett Bradbury, Javon Baker, Kyle Duggar, and DeMontre Jacobs. Now, I'm going to go top down. Garrett Bradbury sucked on Saturday. He sucked at center, especially on those passing situations. When you watch them, he gets beat. He gets manhandled on the pass blocking. I mean, it was atrocious. He was pretty good on the run blocking, but the pass blocking, this is what we knew. This is when we signed him. This is what we knew. The tough part is we let David Andrews not even try. Yes, he did end up and retire. I wonder how much of a market that he even had, on to go play for another team. I'm not saying that he was doing that, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because he kind of got cut out of nowhere during, spring practice, OTAs. It was kind of like, all right, you're done. Like, wait, what? Longtime captain David Andrews. So I think that was, and then of course with the addition of Garrett Bradbury, it's like, I don't know. From what I've seen, you got to give me. I want David Andrews back. David Andrews is a hell of a lot better than Garrett Bradbury. And yes, I understand he's coming off an injury, but I'd at least want to see what David Andrews could do. So I don't know. Garrett Bradbury, there's a lot left to be desired there. There really is. The next guy on that list is Javon Baker. And Javon, I mean, my goodness, was he just, one catch on 7 targets and committed a false start penalty in the fourth quarter. Like, dude, he's balling out at practice. Javon Baker, especially this year, seems to be a great practice guy. Now, of course, does he do some stupid stuff? Absolutely. He's still chucking the ball. He's still immature as all hell. But in practice, he's making these great catches. He's doing this stuff. He did it last year. But when it comes down to the game time, when it comes down to the preseason game, he is nowhere to be found. And even if he's targeted, he's got friggin' stone hands. He can't catch the ball to save his life. Now, again, similar to a lot of these guys, he does have Josh Dobbs throwing to him. He does have Ben Woolridge throwing to him. Not saying that, it's the quarterback's fault. But, again, similar to Jordan Hicks, it's not your catcher's fault, pal. It's you. You're the one throwing the ball. Same thing. There could be a little bit of blame. But, but again, when the ball's thrown your way, you got to come down with it. You got to. Then DeMontre Jacobs, I have him on the list. I'm skipping Kyle Duggar because I'm going to talk about him. I want to talk about him last. But DeMontre Jacobs, I mean, the dude was supposed to be the backup swing tackle. He was supposed to be playing both sides, but he's gotten beat. He's playing late into these games. He's been kicked off the depth chart, basically, and surpassed by several others. So he had a spot, but now it doesn't seem to be working out. And it's not, and he was fine last year, but it's something that, again, got to keep your eyes on tomorrow night. DeMontre Jacobs, is he going to, play his way on as the final tackle on the team? And then, of course, the last guy, Kyle Duggar. Now, Kyle Duggar, it's not that he had a terrible game. I just want to start off with this. It's not that he had a terrible game. It's that when he is put in a situation to make the play, to, be the smartest one on the field, to read the team, to not screw up, basically. Again, you're going against backups. You're a first string safety since you've been playing here. You know what you're doing. But yet he doesn't. And he comes up with the interception in the end zone to ice the game. The clock hits 0. He's in the middle of the end zone. Ball's tipped, comes down with it. And what does this moron do? He tries to run. He tries to get away from people. And by the grace of God, when he's brought down to the ground and the ball squirts loose and the Vikings fall on it in the end zone, making it a 2-point game, where now a 2-point conversion ties it up, his knee came down and hit the ground right before he loses it. I don't know how many of you even made it to the final seconds of that game. But I mean, I was screaming at my TV, yelling him, "Go down!" I know it's a preseason game, but it still bothered me. It still drove me nuts because, again, you should know this. You've been playing football for how long? You've been playing safety for how long? That when the game is over or at any point, unless you're friggin' Devin Hester, if you're in the end zone and you come down with the football as an interception, take the effing knee at any point in the game. It's an automatic touchback. And in this case, it iced the game. The game is over. There is no need to try to run the ball out. As soon as he makes the catch, he should have kicked his feet right out from under himself and fell on his ass. That's what should have happened. But no, he had to go and scramble and run around and possibly almost blow the game. And then we would have tied, then they would have gone for 2. Had they gone the 2, then we would have tied. And it just would have been like, you serious? So, Duggar, I mean, I'm telling you, I don't see a spot for him on this roster. I really don't. He just misses tackles. He can't cover. And then he does this type of stuff where I'm just sitting there going, bro, you're done. Hell, I'd trade him. I wouldn't even trade him for a 7th round pick. I'd trade him for a bag of footballs. That's, kind of similar to baseball. I'd trade him for a bag of footballs, man. Just get him off this team. He's not good anymore. And if we could get something, and I mean anything, just to get that $10 million off the books, hell, I'll do it. That was just terrible, man. That was just absolutely terrible. So moving on now. So again, as I said, cut down day is Tuesday the 26th. And I want to show my projections here. So who I think should be on the team. And first, going left to right, you got the wide receivers. Wide receiver 1, obviously, Stephon Diggs, Kyle Williams. Slot receivers, I got Demario Douglas. And yes, I do have Eftham Chisholm making the roster. Left tackle, I got Will Campbell, Vidarian Lowe. Left guard, Jared Wilson and Layden Robinson. And by the way, this isn't like they're the starters or anything like that. It's just how it is. Layden Robinson, Jared Wilson, Ben Brown at center. And yes, I do have Garrett Bradbury on the roster, even still. But then a right guard, Michael Wenu, Demontre Jacobs, Morgan Moses, and Marcus, Marcus Bryant. And then at tight end, Tight end get Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, and Jack Westover, 3 tight ends. Wide receiver 2, Kayshon Boutte, Matt Collins. Running back, Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson, and Travion Henderson, of course. And, of course, we got Drake Maye and Josh Dobbs. Now, I really wish we could upgrade on Josh Dobbs. I really do. He just hasn't been good. But what are you going to do? I mean, hell, I might even take Ben Woolridge over him. I will be interested to see kind of what the waivers look like for quarterbacks, at least backup quarterbacks. Because, hey, you might be able to sneak one and get a guy worth, at least being a backup. Now, I'm not looking for a guy to challenge Drake Maye, especially not right now. But God forbid something that does happen to the kid. We need a solid backup. and Josh Dobbs is not it. So then on defense, going left to right, top to bottom, I got Jabril Peppers and Dante Pettis. Free safety, Jalen Hawkins and rookie Craig Woodson. Cornerback number 1, Christian Gonzalez, DJ James. Nickelback, Marcus Jones. Outside linebackers, Keon White, Clevion Chason, and Braden Swinson. Linebacker, Robert Spillane. Christian Ellis. Linebacker, Jack Gibbons, Jelani Tavai. Outside linebacker on the right-hand side, Harold Landry III. Truman Jones, Elijah Ponder. Cornerbacks, Carlton Davis III, Alex Austin. And then right end to left end, Christian Barmore, Jack Farmer, nose tackle, Kyrus Tonga, Kyle Pecco, and then Marcus Williams and Jeremiah Farms Jr. So that's my defense. And, of course, got to go special teams here. Julian Ashby is the long snapper. Parker Romo is my kicker. Bryce Barringer is the punter. And, of course, the special teamer, Brandon Schooler. So let me know in the comments down below what you think. Am I missing somebody? Is it somebody that you think deserves to be on the roster that isn't? Let me know. Otherwise, finishing off with Drake Maye. Maye has the second-year leap that he really needs to hit if we're going to be successful. Because as I stated back in the spring, I made a hilarious, I don't want to say ridiculous, but I want to say I made a hilarious record prediction where I had us only losing 5 games. And I was just like, hey, why not? I felt so good about the team. Mike Vrabel was our coach. Drake Maye is going to hit his second year, get Josh McDaniels. And all of a sudden, I think right now it's really coming back down to earth. I'm not 100% sure of whether or not we could even hit, this projection by any stretch of the imagination. And that's what freaks me out. We should be able to. I understand it's asking for a lot. A lot of things are going to have to go right for us to hit that kind of projection. 12 wins in Drake Maye's second season after what happened last year? I mean, woof. That's a massive ask. But I don't know. I think right now, we can win a couple. And I don't mean we're not as bad as 4-13. We're not. Okay? We're a much better team than 4-13. That's just a fact. But it's all going to rely on Drake Maye and how he performs. As it stands right now, Drake Maye technically is 1-9. Yeah, he's 1-9. And he's got turnovers for days. We all know what happened against Tennessee. We all saw how he played down the stretch. It looked fine, but there was nothing to lose our heads over. And I understand the wide receiving core wasn't good. The O-line is trash last year. I get it. I do. But again, we also have to look at how the kid performs. Because no matter how many times I want to help him out and say, hey, guys, you don't know what you're talking about. The O-line sucked. The wide receiver sucked. I'm absolving the kid of all wrongdoing. So even when he has the high throw that he overshoots his receiver and he has a clean pocket, who's that on? That's right. It's on Drake. So Drake, to me, he really has to figure it out. And what I saw from him on Saturday, I wasn't the biggest fan of. Throwing so high, hitting these guys with such, trying to think that they're taller targets than they are. I mean, he really needs to get that down. He really needs to settle down. If that's his issue, we might be in for another long season, guys, no matter who the hell our coaches are. I'm not predicting 12-5. Now I'm not predicting 12-5, but I'm also not predicting 4-13 or 5-12. I can tell you that right now. We shouldn't be that bad. We shouldn't. We should be a bubble team. Later in the season where they say in the hunt, that third column there, we should be one of those teams consistently all the way to the end of the year. That should be a fact. But we're going to see what happens with that. And we're not going to obviously see Drake Maye tomorrow. We're not going to see Travion Henderson tomorrow. We're not going to see Diggs, probably even Matt Collins. I think Kyle Williams looked like he got banged up on Saturday. So, I don't know. I mean, we're going to be a thin roster tomorrow night. It's still going to be fun to watch. I mean, I'm still going to enjoy sitting down and actually watching some Patriots football. Like, hell yeah. And then Saturday, we got week 0 of college football. So, very excited about that. But, yeah, I mean, hey, football's back, baby. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be an interesting one, to say the least.